Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome into another edition of the Big Man on Campus podcast. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, getting you ready for another Thursday in sports. We're here every day, 5 o'clock Eastern, giving you a breakdown of that day's sports betting card, trying to find some plays, some trends, some things that can help us make a few dollars each night. We've had a good group of guests all week. Ian Cameron came on last night, delivered us some real good knowledge. Actually, had a pretty good night if you tailed any of the plays here on the show. I'm definitely tiptoeing right now, but the hockey, look, I don't know anything about hockey. I have turned in, though, to quite the hockey better, surprisingly enough. And I got another play for you tonight that will get the job done, just like the Bruins did last night. Go over a couple of baseball games as well, and we'll hit a 3-game NBA card, including Sixers Nets, Spurs Nuggets, and Clippers Warriors. 3 really interesting series, all tied up at 1. So a lot to get to, all that and more tonight. Peter Loshak was going to join us. Unfortunately, though, living in New York right now, he is in some traffic. He's not going to be able to join us. Maybe we'll see him maybe towards the end of the show. Never keep that off the table. But today we will go at it alone. So feel free to add whatever you can to the show today. That would be appreciated. And do me a favor, guys, listen. There's going to be a special gift from me for anyone that retweets the show on Twitter. It's really all I ask of you. People have asked me what's going on with sponsors. Do I have a sponsor? We do. The one that we did have ended at the end of college basketball. We're working on some other things right now, so we'll be seeing how that goes. But right now, again, I would continue to use all the books that we've talked about here on the show. They're all very good options, and they all will provide you with the same common goal. Also, want to let everyone know, programming note, many of you guys know I do love boxing. I'm a boxing guy. I enjoy talking about boxing. I will have an Amir Khan, Terrence Crawford preview to be out tomorrow, so feel free to check that out. And obviously offer your comments on the video. Won't be live or anything, but we will go over that fight. That's a great fight on Saturday, ESPN pay-per-view. Also, MFL draft next week. I'm really kind of up in the air on what people want me to do. Do people want a preview? Do you want a draft preview? Do you want a props preview? Do you want it all in one? I will likely do something, probably with someone, maybe from the NFL Draft Bible or something like that. So if you have an interest in that, let me know. I'll kind of gauge the interest in it. I really don't care about gauged interest. I just like to put out content. There is a goal to my madness. And right now, keeping content consistent is how you continue to build yourself up in the business. I've done it a long time, and one thing I've always done is stay consistent with content. Matt Varnum, All Gas, No Brakes, Chris Barnes, Mike Book, Anthony Vellotti, 915 Sun City, Billy C., Brian DeCourcy, all of you retweeted the show, and that will entitle you to, I don't know, next time I put out a premium play, I will announce that I'm putting out a premium play. All of you guys can get in touch with me, and I will give it to you for free. As far as that, though, very helpful, and I appreciate the kind words in doing that. So thank you very much, guys. Let's get into some breakdowns here. Last night in the MLB, didn't really have anything that I was in love with last night. Yankees was one that I considered. They got the job done. Listen, right now, guys, I think it's important to mention the Tampa Bay Rays are on an unbelievable run line streak. All 14 wins this year have come by 2 or more runs. They've covered every run line this year when they have won a game. Tonight's an interesting game, though. It is against Baltimore. It is a getaway day, so tomorrow the series will change. And you got a guy in Hunter Wood that's going to be pitching tonight. So it's likely going to be a bullpen game for Tampa. I have a weird feeling tonight Tampa loses. And I'm going to put that out there. I think if you're going to fade Tampa, I think it's tonight. Listen, baseball teams lose games. They don't win every game. If Tampa's going to lose, in 70 games this year. I just have a feeling tonight's one of them. You look at Andrew Kashner, actually has pitched pretty well in his career down at Trop. Not easy to do, but he's been able to do pretty well at it. And again, I'm not backing Kashner here because I think he's a great pitcher or anything. I'm just willing to go against a team that I think is going to lose tonight. This is a game where they're going to have to dip into the bullpen, I think, pretty early. That's just kind of what they do down there, Kevin Cash's group. We saw it last year a lot of the time where they will dip into the bullpen and kind of make it a bullpen game. When Ryan Stanek pitches, that's usually how they do things. Last night, they really haven't had to use a ton of arms. And particularly last night, you look at that game. I mean, it was 8-1. They had 3 hits, Baltimore. But you look, Stanek only went 1 inning. That's what Stanek does. He doesn't go long. They're going to have to go to their pen again tonight. Guys are going to have to pitch 2 nights in a row. They only used 3 arms last night out of the bullpen: Chirinos, Font, and Pagan. Only one of them gave up a run. There was that lone late double the home run to Rio Ruiz. So, look, tonight I have a feeling that the Orioles are going to lose, and I'll gladly take a small play out at Baltimore plus 230. I can get 230 right now on Baltimore. I'll take it. I'll coin flip with Hunter Wood. I just will. Do I recommend you get involved with it too? It's really up to you. I wouldn't make it a big play. Right now, baseball, you just got to kind of roll with the punches right now, but I think that's a worthy play tonight. Ike Johnson, what's up? Sean P, BidXN, Ron Fig, James Wolf, Norm L, thanks for watching. Ron Crawford, Sean, Cap'n 24/7, David, Sean, what's happening? Big underdog tonight. That's a nice one. Norm L saying Brewers are going to cash. I actually agree with him tonight. I like the Brewers as well. Brewers have been very good against left-handed pitchers. Urias doesn't have a ton of experience at this level. He's not gotten to pitch a ton. This is a road game. I don't love the Dodgers really ever on the road. This is a Milwaukee team that's done a fine job this year, 12-7. Nice start to the season. Have had some injuries in the pen, which always sucks. But this is a pretty damn good lineup. They're at home, and look, Zach Davies has been very good for them so far. Zach Davies has frankly been a nice little surprise. So I'll agree with you there. Basically around even money, I'll take and agree with you as well on the Brewers. I think that's a pretty decent spot for the Brew Crew at home. Even back into last year, the problems for the Dodgers generally came on the road. Didn't play last night. This is a new series. I'm sorry, they did play last night. They lost to the Cardinals. New series tonight, though. The Brewers lost last night to the Cardinals. New series tonight, though, and this is a fun series. Nice 4-game weekend series. 2 teams that are going to be in contention out on the West and Midwestern coast. Obviously, the West Coast. There's no Midwestern coast, but you look at last night. This bullpen, had to throw a lot of innings. Corbin Burns wasn't very good, so that's obviously a concern. But I agree. I would agree with you on Milwaukee. The other play I have my eye on tonight is the New York Yankees against the Kansas City Royals. Listen, this is a bet against of Homer Bailey. Homer Bailey was terrific in his last start. This game does go at 6:30, by the way, if anyone's curious. He shut down the Indians in the last game. I believe it was Saturday. Indians had 2 hits. It was actually quite laughable. Sharps like Homer Bailey. It's just that simple. I don't. I know what Homer Bailey is. He's a bad pitcher, and he's close to not being an MLB starter, but he is. Sharps like him. They bet him last year when he was with the Reds, and they bet him that this year with the Royals. It's a road game in a shoebox stadium, and he's going up against a pitcher that has been awesome. Domingo Germán's been a nice anomaly so far for the Yankees. 11 innings, he's only given up a 1.64 ERA. Opponent's only hitting .83 off of him. And again, I will point out it was the Tigers and Orioles, but again, not a great lineup here. This is a 6-win team. This is a series where the Yankees need to win. They have to win these types of series. I'm confident that at least this lineup can get the job done. I like what I've seen out of LeMahieu. Clint Frazier's obviously playing well. Judge, Voigt's driving in a ton of runs. So I'll go with the Yankees here. I'll lay the run line and think that they can get this job done. 6-2, something like that. I'll take a shot here with the Yankees, but definitely liking that Orioles side. Then I'll take a shot with the O's and thinking that they can flip the script here against the Rays. Brew Crew are stroking at home right now. Exactly. What's up, Alex? Thanks for watching. Who else do we have in here? A couple other people as well. Sorry, that's Kansas City for me. Under what pretense? I mean, what on earth do you see here? I've talked to you before. You're just one of these guys that just bets the opposite of everything. What happened to fade the Yankees after the Red Sox series? I'm not sure. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that. You might be getting me confused with someone else. But I've talked to you before. I remember back in the college basketball season, you were one of those people that every play I had, you went the other way. You're just one of these contrarian types, which is fine. Again, do you have any legitimate reasoning for that, or are you just betting against it? I'm not sure, because Homer Bailey's not going to pitch 2 good starts in a row. To me, it's a road game. To me, there's just not really okay. Again, Robbie, I'm not starting a fight with you. I'm just asking, what's your reasoning here? Because you're just saying you like the Royals. You're not really saying why. And again, if it's a numbers play, that's fine. I'm curious what your thoughts are. T Money, what's up? Captain 24/7, the funny bee. Welcome in. Let's kind of move on here. Don't really go over every game on the MLB card. Not until kind of the summer will we do that. But let's go into NBA. NBA's obviously got an interesting card tonight. First of which is the Philadelphia 76ers against the Brooklyn Nets. Series tied 1-1. This is going to be a fascinating game tonight because there's some things off the court that are obviously coming into play here. Ben Simmons, Jared Dudley, that whole thing coming to a head. Obviously, those two are don't like each other right now. I know this is lame, but Ben Simmons and his girlfriend situation, according to many pop culture outlets, him and Kendall Jenner have broken up. So Bendel or no more. Not sure that matters here, but just pointing it out. And the elbow that Joel Embiid threw that I thought was a flagrant 2. If you didn't think it was a flagrant 2, I'm not really sure how much you know about NBA or basketball in general. But yeah, there's a lot of storylines here, interesting storylines, for sure, storylines where I just don't think these two teams really like each other much right now. You've also had Rodion Skurix. He got into it, Ben Simmons as well. Embiid laughing after the game, kind of acting like it was all a joke, which a lot of these Sixers get under the skin of these players. This is an interesting game from that standpoint. But look, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I think the last game, I think it really kind of showed you when this Sixers team can play where everyone's kind of playing their game, they're not going to be beaten by the Nets. It's just that simple. Game 1, I thought they were a little lethargic. Didn't seem like they were totally into the game. I think we all know well and good that they can't stop Joel Embiid. Jared Allen's a nice player, but he can't stop him. And unfortunately, they just don't have a ton of depth. Jared Dudley, he's not going to give you anything. You even look at that game the other night. While the Sixers were terrific, I mean, they scored 145 points, which is among the most ever in playoff games. Jimmy Butler didn't play well. They still didn't play a full game to me. Boban's been a big X factor for them. I really like what I've seen out of him. I think this is a must win for the Sixers. You've grabbed control of this series. Now you really have to grab it with 2 hands and push away and pull away. You can't go up to Brooklyn with any sort of the concern for the Sixers is maybe they think they have the control of this series and they go up there with kind of a dumb mindset. But I just don't think the Nets. I think they're too 3-point reliant at times. I just don't think they have enough to withstand the Sixers. And with a short line here, I think anything under 4, I'd probably have interest in the Sixers here. I think 3.5 is a pretty good number. Again, we're seeing a spot where you're betting a bad number. I think if you like the Sixers, you should have grabbed it at 2.5. You had enough time to do it, and you probably should have did that. I think the Sixers will get the job done here. Won't be betting it myself, but if I had to bet it, I would take the Sixers. It is a very public side, but you look at the sharp money as well. Looks like sharp money coming in on the Sixers as well. 70% of the dollars on the Sixers, which is a good sign. Looks like sharps and the public are agreeing here that the Sixers probably the play. Listen, truth of the matter was they gave up 145 points in the last game. It seemed like the Sixers scored every time they had the ball. So I'm not sure that they can combat that, and I'm not sure that traveling up to Brooklyn is going to matter. This is going to be a great game to watch, I think, from a neutral standpoint. A couple comments here. Thank you, Mike Butler. Thanks for watching. This is still a potent Yankees lineup, even with the injuries. Agreed. Everyone else has been able to step up as well, so it really hasn't mattered. That's terrific. Terrific point. All right, Robbie Tops has commented on why he likes the Royals. Domingo Germán battled command problems in his first 2 starts, but did an outstanding job of keeping runs off the board as he yielded only 2 runs. Lucky. Okay, well, I mean, opponents only hit .83 off him, so, okay. I mean, it's a good point, I guess, but – I mean, he didn't give up any runs, though. So, I mean, maybe 1 start I could understand, but 2 or 3, I don't think. Listen, we disagree here. I'll go the other way. I'm taking the run line here. James misses college basketball. I do as well. College basketball is the greatest, isn't it? I will say, Robbie, it seems like you're copying and pasting that stuff. Please don't do that on this show. I don't need the copy and paste. Listen, come up with your real ideas. You don't have to try to woo all of us here. It just seems like that's copy and pasted info. I don't mean to call you out here, but just give us your real opinion. It's cool. You don't like the Yankees tonight. That's fine. I'm going to go the other way. Big man, I heard Peter Loshek was on your show recently. Is he still capping? And if so, where? Well, Bruce, you're free to listen to the show. We do have them archived here on the channel. Peter is still capping, yes, and he'll be on the show frequently. So make sure you join us. He is in New York. He's doing some things up there, and he'll be on the show. I was going to get him on today, but I wasn't able to. He's got to do some. He's still in traffic, so I'm sure maybe we'll see Peter tomorrow. Thanks for watching, Razard Fields. Any free plays given? Yeah. You can listen back to the show. We gave out a few different things. Maybe at the end I'll comment. Again, guys, coming up, my NHL play. Look, I might be the best NHL capper in the business, other than Brandon Walker, who is doing quite well. I talked to Brandon last night from Barstool. He's doing well. Did a nice job last night again. He's I guess right now he's the king of the NHL, and maybe I'm the prince. So I'm just going at it and having fun, and it's been fun. I am a Royals fan, and you may get Casey early, but I would definitely play Yankees second half. Well, there you go, Royals fan. Pete's a good guy, very funny dude, and great totals handicapper. Yes, he is. Again, like I said, we'll try to get him on tomorrow's show. Let's move on with the NBA. We'll get to the other 2 games here. Denver against San Antonio. San Antonio, obviously, at home here. San Antonio, list line's moving up. Look, if you didn't get the 2, again, you're probably in a pretty bad spot here. This line is flying up. The public loves the Spurs here. And look, they should. I'm not going to tell you that they shouldn't love the Spurs. Greg Popovich at home throughout his kind of years as a coach in San Antonio has been a great home coach as far as particularly in the playoffs. Greg Popovich has been terrific. I think since 2005, so basically over the last 15-ish years, I mean, he's like 63% at home against the spread in the playoffs. I mean, he is just fantastic. And you look at the big angle in this game. The Spurs are playing a team that is very young. Whether it's Jamal Murray, whether it's Jokic, whether it's Gary Harris, whether it's Malik Beasley, whether it's Monte Morris, whether it's really whoever. This is a young basketball team. This is the first road game for that basketball team. And all in all, it's also a young coach and Mike Malone. Tough spot. This is an inexperienced team, and it's going to be unreliable, I think, in a road environment spot. I'm concerned about that spot, especially against a coach like Greg Popovich. You also look at the fact that, the Nuggets really haven't had that much success in this game, other than a crazy run they ran on in the second half of Game 2. This could very well be a 2-0 lead. If I'm looking at this game from a betting standpoint, look, you're starting to get up to a number, though, where, look, if this hits 5, I mean, I might have some interest. I think the game comes down to the wire. I really do. I think these are pretty evenly matched teams. I think that 5 is probably a bit too many. Look, at 2.5, I would have been interested, but at this point with 5, I mean, that's just a bit too high for me. Or if it gets to 5, 4.5 even. I mean, you're going to give me 2 buckets in this game, which is likely probably close. Gun to my head, I'd take this. I'd probably go Nuggets at this point. But I think the Spurs, here's what I'll say. And I don't condone this. I'm not a big fan of doing parlays. I don't bet parlays really, really too often. But, if you want to, make, plus money on something, I think the Sixers and Spurs is a safe play. I do. I think they will both win. But am I running to lay the number with both these teams? No, because the numbers gotten out of hand. This is why in the NBA playoffs particularly, you're going to bet these games early. So if you like the favorites, you got to bet them early. You like the dogs, you got to wait. And for me, I'm more of a wait and see NBA better because I want to see where the line goes. I think at this point, you're starting to see some value on the Nuggets. If it gets to 5, I would take the Nuggets. I think this game is a 1 or 2 possession game. For the record, you parlay these 2 teams, Spurs and Sixers, together just to win the game, plus 147. So nice little plus money price. Look, if you're betting parlays, though, and you're betting 6 teams and you're getting even money on the parlay, you gotta find another thing to do with your money. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. You're not going to win. The max parlay you do is 4.5 points or less, 2 teams. I'm not doing anything above that. I'm not parlaying 680s and 540s and 1080. I'm not doing that. I'm not risking 4 different games to win, minus 110. I'm not doing it. So this is the only scenario where I would consider that. But in this case, if I had to make bets on both these games, I would take the Philadelphia 76ers at 3.5. And if the number hit 5, I would take the Nuggets. A couple comments here. We like to mix those in. Wherever you are, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining us. This is the Big Man on Campus podcast. We're every day talking sports betting, having some fun, and going over some games. See, I can involve the common man. How's it hanging? I'm doing well, Chris. Hope you're doing well also. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. I appreciate you jumping on every day. Red Girl is here. Welcome in, Red Girl. Good friend of the show, Red Girl. I got to go see Red Girl sometime in Miami. In fact, my girl's in Miami right now. Red Girl doing her thing down in Miami. She's saying the Spurs are the play. Not at this point, Red Girl. Maybe at 2.5 where it opened. But at this point, I can't get involved at this number. Public loves the Spurs here. And the number's just out of hand for me. I'm not betting a bad number. I'm not going to do it. Thanks for watching, Joe Garcia. Thanks for that comment. Love to listen. I don't pull no punches, Joe. If you don't want to hear it, you shouldn't listen. And if you think I'm talking about you, I probably am. For at whatever you want to say about Jeff, Jeff is an OG. He's been doing this Twitter thing longer than a little. When you were in your with your backpack on at school, I was on Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2009, before everybody. So, I have an ability to, I should be respected either way. whether you love or hate me. And I will tell you how it is. What else do we have here? A lot of people. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Again, we're here every day, every weekday. Hit the like button here. I will wait for it live. Spurs close to Moneyline or Denver. Okay, so yeah, that's a good idea as well. I mean, you could bet the game live. I don't do a ton of that, but that is a decent idea as well. Any NFL draft props stand out? Thanks. I'll tell you what, Louie. Once I'm done with NHL, I'll go through one of those or two. I'm actually pretty much done with my mock, so I've actually already worked on props, so I have a few already. In fact, I've actually bet a few already. So yeah, I'll definitely get those out there for sure. What else do we have here? Denver's new to the playoff life. Yeah, I hear you. That's definitely a reason that I would think that they have trouble in this game. But again, if you're going to give me 5 points, that's where I'm hitting this game. If it touches a 5, I'll grab the dog. Thanks to everyone that's retweeted the show on Twitter. Danny Curry, Yukon Cabarrus. Who else do you have? The KC fans in here. Wolf Steak Sports. Thanks for doing that, guys. Very helpful. Try to do that every day if you can. All right, final game. We have the Clippers and Warriors. Look, I said it the other night. I thought that was the most unbelievable thing I've seen in the NBA in a long time. A team down 31 with 6 to go on the road in the playoffs against arguably one of the best teams in NBA history, historically come back and win the game. That's pretty amazing, really. But here's where I have some pause if I like the Warriors. Look, I know in all these situations, the Warriors are the play on paper. They're going to bounce back. They're going to roll. They're going to be ready to go here. They're going to be out for blood. It's hard to pick yourself up the mat regardless of who you are, and especially if you're the Warriors. You don't get put in those situations very often, if ever. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think there's some things going on with this team from a personnel standpoint. First of all, I think there's some cracks developing. I really do. It wouldn't surprise me over the next year or two, and it's not going to surprise me because Kevin Durant's gone. Klay Thompson, I would think at some point he moves on. Nothing lasts forever, as they say. And look, one of the big elephants in the room also right now is they really haven't ever had a road grader down low that can guard the bigs for the opposite team. And, they still don't now. We heard in the offseason how great this team was going to be because now they have DeMarcus Cousins. But per usual, DeMarcus Cousins is injured. And they don't really have an option now down low. Montrezl Harrell was really good for them the other night. Really good. 25 points in 33 minutes. Danilo Gallinari was a wrecking ball on the perimeter. And I'm going to say this right now. A lot of people don't like the guy. Patrick Beverley's the best defender in the league. Listen, he's faced Kevin Durant, I want to say 33 times in this series as far as guardable opportunities. I think Kevin Durant has 2 free field goals. I mean, he's the best defender in the league. You can love him or hate him. He's a junkyard dog that knows how to push people's buttons, and he's terrific. Add in the fact that you got some really good bench production from JaMychal Green and the most unheralded player in the league nobody talks about in Lou Williams. Lou Williams is as good as it gets, and he's been one of my favorite players in the NBA for a long time. Back to when he was here in Philadelphia. He's a terrific kid. He's everything that's not the NBA. He just does his thing. He never complains. He comes off the bench and is arguably one of the better 6 men of all time, in my opinion. This is just a really interesting team that's playing well. You've gotten some good minutes out of Landry Shamet. And surprisingly, you didn't get anything out of Zubac the other night. 9 minutes Zubac played, which is surprising. Usually he gives you something. But, they made the trade with Philadelphia. You kind of thought, okay, they're selling. They lose Harris. They lose Boban. But have no fear. Shamet's coming to give them some really good minutes. And, Wilson Chandler provides a pretty good guy off the bench, veteran presence. You're probably asking me, okay, what do you like here, though? I'm going to take the points. I will. And look, I'm going to make this clear. I could be stepping into the fucking Lions den. And, of course, I always may step into the Lions den when I take the Warriors or bet against the Warriors. Just because, look, They're really good. I mean, no one will ever say that, but this is a road game. That place is going to be jumping tonight to Staples Center. It's the only team in town that's any good. The Lakers stink. Both college teams stink. This is a pretty cool, opportunity for the Clippers off an unbelievable comeback. And what I thought was so impressive about the Clippers was they didn't do overly a ton from three the other night. A lot of that comeback was just getting the ball to the hoop and scoring. So, look, I know a lot of people on the servers will say, "Oh, Warriors bounce back, Warriors bounce back," but you're getting a number here that's high. I mean, 9 is the number I would need, and there are some 9s out there. There's some 9s at Sportsbook AG and some other places. And look, this game doesn't go till 10:30, but again, the Warriors are getting pounded here. Every one of their mothers on the Warriors. You're definitely on the contrarian side here. So if you like the Warriors about I'm not going to tell you anything you shouldn't. Warriors are great, but I am starting to see some cracks develop, and I just think this Golden State team, there's some issues with them right now. And look, it's hard to pick yourself off the mat. When you lose games on a regular, Golden State never loses, and they never lose by with that kind of lead. So it's a fascinating game for sure. What else do we have here? Thanks for watching. Paulie D's in here. How about that? Paulie D from Jersey Shore fame. Thanks for watching, Paulie D. Catch Paulie D's show, A Double Shot at Love on MTV. I actually watched that last week. My girl was here last Thursday night, and we went out and got dinner, and then we came home, and she wanted to watch it, so we watched it. So it's actually not bad, surprisingly. Durant doesn't look comfortable. Of course he doesn't, because Beverly's just a great defender. He's awesome. What do you think about the Padres tonight? I have no opinion. The only game out of those two that I like that you mentioned, I definitely like the Brewers. What's up, Yanks guy? Thanks for watching. Al Hard, what's happening? Al Hard get 10, a great number. Good for you, Al Hard. That's a great number. 9 would probably be the grab for me in this one. All right, NHL. All right, my play tonight in the NHL. I gave you the Bruins last night. I played Columbus the night before. They won. And then the first game, which I didn't give out, though I played it, was the Sharks over in the first game, and that won. So I've been doing good in the NHL. Listen, I want to make this disclaimer. If you're a new listener, I don't know much about the NHL. I handicap basketball, football, soccer. NHL is just one sport that I've never really gotten into. I'm really just having fun here. I've never considered myself an NHL handicapper, nor do I, nor will I ever. You'll never see me cover it. I'm just having fun with it right now and seeing how I do. And I've actually done quite well over the years whenever I do bet it. Last year I had Vegas in the Stanley Cup. They went to the finals. This year I like the Islanders. I have them. So, all right, tonight I'm going to take the Golden Knights. I think they'll beat the Sharks and close the series out. Look, I just think the Sharks have too many problems right now. Their goalkeeper, as Andrew McGinnis told us the other day, is a complete mess. His name is Martin Jones. He's had all sorts of issues. You also look at this Sharks team. I mean, playing a little bit undisciplined right now. A lot of penalty minutes in this series. They just don't look as good as the Vegas Golden Knights. And, we have some series that are really tight. Obviously, some of the ones last night and that kind of thing. But I just think the Golden Knights are a better team. I really like this play tonight. I just think the Sharks are kind of cooked. If you've ever seen their logo, they have a shark that's like biting a stick, and it's like in half. I think they're the stick that's bitten in half. I just, Marc-Andre Fleury has been really good. I'm gonna grab the Golden Knights tonight. They're gonna be my play of the day in the NHL, which is on a 1-0 run. 3-0 for me, but 1-0 run. I might be the best NHL handicapper. So I'll grab plus 105 here on Vegas Golden Knights against San Jose. So feel free to tail or fade. It's really up to you. No, I'm not Ian Cameron or Andrew McGinnis or any of those guys. I just like to want to have some success, give those out. But it's really just shtick. I'm not an NHL handicapper or anything. All right, guys, the floor is yours. We've been on for about 35 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in. Louis Lanz asked about draft props. Yeah, I have a few that I definitely like. I think there will be more than 2.5 Bama players drafted. I'm very confident in that one. I definitely think, obviously, Quinnen Williams is a lock. Jonah Williams is a lock. You're really looking for that third player. I think it's going to really come down to Josh Jacobs or Irv Smith. I don't think Irv Smith will go round 1, but I think Josh Jacobs will. I have him going to the Raiders at 24. I could see them taking him again at, if they don't take him at 24, at 27. There are needs for running backs in the first round. I could also see the Raiders maybe going for Irv Smith, their tight end. They need both of those positions pretty badly. The Philadelphia Eagles are a team that need a running back. I could see them maybe in the running for Josh Jacobs. I think over 2.5 Alabama players looks really good at this point, minus 160. That's one that I'm gonna bet and be on. I really like that one. I guess I just don't really see where that doesn't hit. I guess you're just banking on the fact that just 2 get drafted. I also have Joey Bosa as the second, or Nick Bosa as the second pick. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. So Nick Bosa as the number 2 pick. You're gonna have to lay a little juice on that 280, but I think it's a good unit to grab. Also, I have over 2.5 wide receivers at minus 110. I think A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf are locks. I think Marquise Brown will find his way into the first round also. There are definitely teams that need receivers. I think he's a guy that's kind of starting to move up the boards a little bit. Look, I had Deebo Samuel at one point in a mock. I think he's an interesting player. Kelvin Harmon is kind of moving up. But I think there's 3 for sure. I think Marquise Brown will find his way. It's a shame he got injured because I think Marquise Brown would be a really high-end player if he didn't get injured. So those are a couple I have my eye on in the first round. Kind of still figuring out the second round as far as where certain guys are going to go. But I've made some picks as far as movers and risers in this draft. And for anyone that's not aware, Thursday is the NFL draft, so it's coming up quickly. So make sure you are prepared for that. I will probably have something out probably Monday or Tuesday for you to listen to. Won't be incredibly long. I'll probably have someone on to chat a few props with me, try to make our best guesses on how we do with those. So that's something I really like. Marquise Brown to Philadelphia as a D-Jax replacement. Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I don't think they'll do it. I think they need a running back more. I think they have more pressing needs, defensive line, guard, running back. I think they'll look more in the second or third round for a receiver. Maybe hoping that you can get like a N'Keal Harry to drop down or something. But yeah, I'm not sure that they'll take a receiver. You could take the Vegas Golden Knights in regulation for plus 170. Yeah, I could, but again, I'm not gonna overdo it. I think they'll win. I'm confident with that. Those are for like the guys that really handicap hockey. For the guys that just have some fun with it, sometimes during the playoffs. There you go. So yeah, those are some of the things I have for the NFL draft. If you have any NFL draft questions, I'll be on for another 10 or so minutes. Feel free to send those in, anything you got. Do I like the Spurs tonight? Yeah, you missed the show, brother. You're going to have to rewind. I talked about that game. I kind of had an interesting conversation about it. So I would recommend just rewinding back and checking out it. I did all the NBA games, so I would check that out. Thoughts on Phillies Rockies over 11? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have any interest in that play. Frankly, anytime Freeland pitches, I'm not interested in any overs. I actually kind of like the Rockies in this game. Back at home, Eflin was horrendous in his last start. I like Freeland a lot. It's one of my favorite pitchers. He's been terrific at Coors Field in his career. This Phillies pitching staff is kind of a mess right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Eflin finds his way down at some point pretty soon also. So, yeah, I would I think that the Rockies can score some runs, but I don't think the Phillies will do a ton. I would lean with the Rockies in that one, round even money. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Hit all of our spots. We hit the NBA. We grabbed an NHL play with Vegas at plus 105, and we took a few plays out in MLB. So that's pretty much that. Keep a lookout for the Amir Khan, Terrence Crawford preview. I'll have that out tomorrow, if not later tonight. And we'll be doing some MFL draft next week as well. Someone asked about guests. Will I be having? I want to see here. We bringing on more guests in the future. Yeah, Joe. I mean, as far as what I know, probably. I mean, I have a questionable future. I'm kind of in talks with something right now about possibly going to work for somebody. So it's kind of in transit right now. But yeah, I mean, as far as right now, I'm just going to keep doing this show for as long as I can. I'm not. Look, I love doing this show. I've done some kind of show for as long as I remember. I've been putting a lot of time into this for like 5 or 6 years. I remember when I started, I've talked before, nobody listened. Now I have a decent following and people check in when I'm on the air. And, I've developed some decent contacts and have been able to do some cool things. But, I have goals. I have places I want to go. And, if I can get those opportunities, I'm going to take them. I'm not, I don't want to, not that I don't enjoy doing this show. I'd always love to do it if I could. I'm going to try to do this show in some facet if I go somewhere coming up. Obviously, I'm going somewhere to talk about gambling and to be involved with that cohort. So, I'm always going to try to have a show. Will it technically be on this channel? No, but I'm never going to leave doing this. So whether I'm working for someone or not, I'm always going to do these shows. This is just something I'm always going to do. So to answer your question, will there be more guests? Yeah, for sure. As long as I'm doing this, there will be more guests. Other than that, guys, we will wrap up the show. Hoping you all have a great night. We will be watching plenty of NBA tonight. It's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun night of basketball, particularly around these parts with the Sixers and Nets. By the way, on Twitter, Vice News is reading every page of the Mueller report. Not really sure why, but they are. They've been on for over 6 hours, and they're reading every page. They're on page 201, which is fascinating stuff. So if you want to hear the Mueller report, you can go listen to it now on Vice News. I'm not really sure what the point of this is, but you really see everything nowadays. You see, you know what people that I always find interesting. So I do periscopes, right? I do, I sometimes do them every night. Sometimes, like recently I stopped doing them every night just because, there's not as much that's interesting going on. But so like sometimes I'll just like log through some of the periscopes people that are on. And the people that I find most interesting on Periscope, and you run into them once in a while, are you'll sometimes find people that are imprisoned on Periscope. Like they sneak a phone in and they're like on Periscope on C Block. And like they're just chilling, like, and they're like live from, lockup, and they're fucking on like Periscope. It's fascinating, really. You see some fascinating people on Periscope, that's for sure. But yeah, I was on there last night and I saw like this guy, he was like in a halfway house and like it looked like jail. Like I've seen insides of jails and like it looked like a jail. It was like the white like block walls, like they look like white painted. You see them in like schools and stuff too. So you could tell it was like really old, and like you could tell he was like in jail. And like he wasn't in jail per se, but he was on like a halfway house. And like I found it fascinating, like how he does that. Like how does he get that in there? And like what does he use for Wi-Fi? Like I guess someone pays the bill and he just uses I don't know, but fascinating either way. George is saying Vice News is fake. I don't think it's fake. You obviously have what you're into and what you're not into. I actually like Vice. I think their work is well done. But there's a lot of news outlets that people don't like. Like I like CNN. I think it's funny and interesting. And I am fairly liberal, so I mean it is probably kind of my news. But I think the news outlet is Al Jazeera. If anyone's ever watched Al Jazeera, they actually put out some really good programming as well. Like Al Jazeera America, they have a channel. It's actually quite interesting. They used to do a show called Fault Lines. It was really good. It was just about like really interesting, like controversial topics, and they would like profile like really interesting people throughout the world. Like I remember they did an episode one time on blood feuds in Albania, which is something that I know about being Albanian. It's just like about blood feuds, and for anyone that doesn't know what blood feuds are, you can look that up yourself. But they're a real thing up in northern Albania, blood feuds, where like if someone kills one of your family members, your life's work is to kill one of their family members. And there are kids that have been literally recluses for like 20 years. If they leave their house, they'll be murdered. And it's basically about like these mediators that go in between families and like quell blood feuds. Because in Albania, a lot of people still live by, we have a code called the Kanun, and it's basically these different codes that are very old school and like primitive that people still live by, and one of them is an eye for an eye, basically. So they did this thing on that, and I think it's a pretty decent network. Was that the outlet that broke the Peyton Manning news? Yes, it is actually. That's a good call, Louis. And people would call it fake because people basically said that it was terrorist funded, which it isn't. It's actually an English-based company, but yeah. So they do some programming like that that's really fascinating. So I actually really like some of those news networks, but yeah. So I'm not really sure why we got on that topic, but Chip Piler, thanks. Nice call in Boston Center. Yeah, NBA was good last night, by the way. We had Celtics under. We had the Celtics. They covered somehow by half a point. We also had what else do we have? We had the Bucks. Bucks beating the Pistons badly, and that game went over. I think the only lone loss was the Jazz, who the Jazz and Thunder have been really disappointing in these playoffs. Really disappointing. By the way, before I go, guys, I wanted to put this out there to any of you. A lot of you guys that watch my show are in your 20s or 30s. I really recommend. There's a guy named Dave Ramsey I've been listening to lately. He's fascinating guy. He basically has a show on the radio and on different places that he basically helps people with financial issues, getting out of debt, creating worth, creating assets, tax issues, whatever you have. He's really interesting. Like I've been like listening to him a ton. Some of his like callers that call in, like you guys gotta watch some of this stuff. It's really interesting. Like, just like how not to get into like debt and like what not to do if you do get into debt, and like just kind of understanding like like tax code and like stuff like that, like what to do and what not to do, and like this like long-term resources and mortgage calculators and all stuff like that. The guy's really interesting. I don't promote him or anything. It's just some guy that I found. He's like really interesting. Like some people will call in with like these crazy like binds that they have themselves in, and he kind of just like gives them like his advice, and he's kind of like no nonsense. So I kind of like that. Like, he doesn't like sugarcoat shit. He just kind of tells you what it is. So I like him a lot. Like really like him a lot. It's really interesting. Does he have a Twitter? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that. I would think he would. I mean, he's pretty big at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if he does or not. My father loves Dave Ramsey. Yeah, he's great. I think he's really interesting. Um, like some of the people that call in, like I often wonder, like, are they like real? Like, are the stories actually legitimate? Like this one guy called in, he's talking about how like, he's a compulsive gambler. He makes 95 grand a year from a pension, and he owes the IRS like 5 years tax returns. And like I don't know, it was just like it didn't make any sense. Like, how do you make that much money, but you didn't have like 10 grand to pay your taxes? But like he told me something that I never knew. Like I always thought with taxes, like if you don't pay taxes, you will go to jail. That's always what I thought. But the actual crime is not filing your taxes. But I never knew that. I'm pretty dumb when it comes to like a lot of this financial stuff. But again, make sure you guys understand a lot of this stuff. Obviously, leasing cars and shit like that. Most of the people that call in are just like, they don't. They like live outside of their means. Like they make a ton of money, but they live like 5 times out of their means. Dude's a legend. Yeah, he definitely is. Did I watch the clip where the lady calls in saying she got too much money in the bank? No, I haven't. I actually listened to one earlier. This lady called in where she was basically talking about how her husband and her are like, they're really well, like not well off, but they're comfortable. They have a nest egg. They have IRAs and shit like that. They do fine. But like her husband has 50 grand just in her garage. Like, and he won't let it go. And basically, it was fascinating because Dave Ramsey basically explained to her that due to inflation in 10 years, the money would be worth obviously like half. And then if he put it into like a mutual fund and like just a regular decent mutual fund, he would make like, I think in like 20 years, he would have made like $500,000 or something. So he would have like 10 times this money instead of just having it sit in his garage. Because I guess the guy was like, he wanted like really like, he just wanted the money in his hands. And she was just like, well, what if someone robs us? Or like, and he's talking about burying the money. And Dave Ramsey's talking about how like he met this guy one time that did that and the money disintegrated. This paper, it'll disintegrate. Where do you watch Dave Ramsey? If you just type in Dave Ramsey, like they put like these 5 or 6 minute calls of like different people up. And it's just like I've just been watching like the clips. And they have all sorts of different clips. Tony Soprano hit $40,000 in his bird feeder. Yeah, he did. That's not underground though, so we don't have to worry about disintegration there. And they were in vacuum sealed bags, so I don't think it mattered. Also, programming note: if you like any TV, you're looking for something to watch on TV. I want to shout out. I forget Jared Miller, I think is his name on Twitter. He told me about this show that I didn't know was on. It's on ID, the Investigation Discovery Channel. It's basically called Homicide City. It's about famous historical cases as far as homicide cases in Philadelphia, and it's really good, really well done. It's kind of got some of that corny like reenactment stuff, but like it's really interesting cases, like cases I remember when I was younger, and like triple homicides and like double homicides, and just cases that I remember that like wiggle their way back like through like various like, criminal cohorts, and really interesting. I really liked it. So shout out to that guy for explaining that. It molds. Okay. Yeah, it's like real cases too. Like it starts out like in 2003, there were 345 murders in Philadelphia. This is one of those stories. And like they interview like homicide detectives, people involved, people that were questioned. It's really good, really good. I remember when I was a kid. I remember, and I don't know if they'll ever do a story on this, and then we'll go. But I remember when I was a kid, there was a murder in West Philadelphia, like over by where like near where Will Smith went to high school, like Overbrook, which is actually a Will school. Overbrook, Will Chamberlain went there, and it's actually the biggest Historically, I think it's the biggest mass murder in Pennsylvania history. It was back in I want to say 2000, I think. So it was a good 20 years ago. It was the worst mass murder in Pennsylvania history. It was called the Lex Street Massacre. It was 10 people were killed at a crack house in West Philly. It was a wild story. I remember that. I don't know if they'll ever go over that, but yeah, there's been some terrible murders in this city, families, triple homicides, shit like that. But yeah, really interesting show. So if you're out there, definitely check that thing out. All right, guys, we are out of here. We will recommend that you have a great night. We'll be on tomorrow. I'm guessing Loshak will be back to be on tomorrow night. We'll go over a Friday card in MLB and NBA and all sorts of other stuff as well. So make sure you join us for that. The biggest mass murder was when Brigham Young murdered somebody. Yeah, I'm not talking about nationally. I'm talking about in Pennsylvania. The biggest one-time mass murder was in Philadelphia, the Lex Street Massacre, which is what I was just talking about. So what the biggest mass murder in national history is, but yeah, I mean, in Pennsylvania, it was that one. Brigham Young. Interesting. I never heard of that. I'll have to look that up. I don't know who Brigham Young is. I've always kind of wondered that. But I guess it's some murder mystery or something. But I'll look that up. That's another story for another day. Someone on crack with a gun can't be a good combo. Have a good one. Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't someone on crack. It was dealers and shit like that. But either way, everyone have a great night. Thanks for watching. Jim Jones was not in America. That was in Guyana. So that doesn't count. Also Jeopardy tonight, 7:00. Make sure you check out our friend James Holtzhauer, Sports Better. We'll see what he does tonight as well. So I'm not the smartest sports better, but I'm probably the second. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for watching. I'm the Big Man on Campus.